Hello, everybody. It's me again, Russell Mills. I'm going to be making another video. This one is about the death of Ozzy Osbourne, which I was shocked. 70. I believe he was 76. But I'm going to play you guys some clips. So get rolling here, okay?
And we are following breaking news. Ozzy Osbourne, the legendary heavy metal singer known as the Prince of Darkness, has died at the age of 76. Osbourne's family saying in a statement in part that he died this morning surrounded by love. Osbourne was the frontman of pioneering heavy metal band Black Sabbath. He went on to have a successful solo career. His death comes just weeks after a farewell concert in Birmingham, England. Morning News Now anchor Joe Fryer looks back at Ozzy Osbourne's incredible career.
He was known as the Prince of Darkness, music royalty crowned with metal. Ozzy Osbourne rose to fame in the 1970s as lead singer of Black Sabbath, the band that gave the heavy metal genre a lift, with hits like Paranoid. Then in 1979 came major changes. Ozzy was fired from the group for excessive drinking and drug use. He would quickly rebound, launching a long, successful solo career with songs like Crazy Train and the power ballad Mama, I'm Coming Home. Mama, I'm coming home.
What rock and roll has done for me is you couldn't buy it. It's changed everything for me, because like 20 years ago, I was just a nothing person living in a nothing existence. I never had any excitement in my life.
Osbourne was born in 1948 in Birmingham, England. As a young boy, he never could have imagined decades later he'd perform for the Queen, singing at her Golden Jubilee in 2002. It was a career filled with accomplishments, winning Grammy Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and the creation of Ozfest, a successful music festival that boosted up-and-coming bands. But there were challenges, too. He was accused of being a negative influence on teens and of worshiping Satan, an allegation he roundly rejected.
I have a big heart. All I want to do is make people smile. But there's so many people out there that think that I'm that devil, and It's an act that I do, It's show business.
Though there was the time he bit the head off a bat while on stage, something so enmeshed in his lore, he even reenacted it on his tour.
So I picked it up, bite the thing's head off, and suddenly everybody's freaking out because it's a real bat.
It's a moment that would be parodied throughout his life. He created even more memorable moments on the reality show The Osbourne.
I pressed his one button, and the shower started going.
It's a surprising hit for MTV that chronicled Ozzy, his wife Sharon, and two of their kids, Jack and Kelly. Ozzy did ultimately reunite with Black Sabbath, occasionally touring with the group. Over the years, he struggled with sobriety, but credited Sharon with saving his life.
Sharon's my heart and soul. If it wasn't for Sharon, I would be dead long ago. I wouldn't have lost it.
And me too. He saved me, and I saved him.
He also dealt with health problems, including Parkinson's disease, yet he kept making music.
It's what I do, It's the greatest love affair that I've ever had in my life.
A legacy of light from the Prince of Darkness. Joe Fryer, NBC News.
And joining us now to reflect further on Osbourne's legacy is Ralphie Aversa, host and producer of Entertain This on USA Today. Ralphie, first off, talk to us about his legacy from music and the Black Sabbath to his solo career.
Yeah, when I think of Ozzy Osbourne and his legacy, and Zinkley, great to join you despite the circumstances, I think of two things. First, I think of music, and obviously I go right to Black Sabbath, a band that he co-founded in the late 60s and then rose to fame in the 70s. Who hasn't heard Crazy Train somewhere, anywhere, whether it's the original, whether it's a cover, whether it was sampled into another song? It was just one of those songs, and it's one of those bands that really helped to define and redefine a genre. So obviously you go back decades with Black Sabbath and Ozzy and that, but then also I mean, look, let's face it. I just recently turned 40 in Clay, and I could very well remember the Osbournes and the reality TV show as well, and Ozzy kind of being reintroduced to a new generation. And what's really interesting as we go back over these decades that he was a part of pop culture and a part of music across the world. Ozzy would come and go, but he never really left for good. I mean, I think about even, I believe it was an album that came out in 2019 with Post Malone that Ozzy was a part of. So, you had contemporary artists as well that wanted to collaborate with him.
For sure. And Ralphie, I appreciate that you speak to the fact that his influence expanded well beyond music. We saw his influence on pop culture with that series, but there was also some controversy with him as the Prince of Darkness. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, look, certainly some of his antics on stage and off of it had made headlines as well. And, look, his relationship with his wife, Sharon, that certainly was in the news as well, as they kind of fell in and out of harmony. Certainly here at the end, Sharon played an instrumental role in the later years of Ozzy's career. And certainly this final show, this final tribute that he was able to have, he was really able to receive his flowers before he, passed away, which is, something I'm sure his friends, family, and fans are very thankful for.
Yeah, fans certainly remembering him today. Ralphie Aversa, thanks so much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube.
So I can't believe that, so Ozzy Osbourne, which I didn't know because I thought that was his real name. I just Googled it right now. It says John Michael Ozzy Osbourne was born December 3rd, 1948 in July and died July 22nd, 2025, which was yesterday, which was on a Tuesday in July. He was an English singer, songwriter, and media personality. He rose to prominence, they already said, in the 1970s as the lead vocalist of the heavy metal band Black Sabbath. As they said, he adopted the nickname Prince of the Darkness, which I remember hearing about him when he bit that bat back in the 80s. That's what's crazy. This guy, he was a wild guy. So, again, I'm going to see if I can play a clip of his wife.
I met Ozzy when I was around 18.
This is it.
And he came into my father's office for management with Black Sabbath. So I was 18 when I first met him.
Love at first sight?
No, not at all. I was like, oh, Lord, look at them. And they were all odd and hairy, and because I'd been used to dealing with artists that were American, and they were slick, and they were really put together, and they smelled nice. And, suddenly these guys come in and they're hairy and they're very, from the north of England, and they don't look or dress like anything I've ever seen. And so I was very nervous of them.
Well, given that first impression, how in the world did anything ever develop?
I went to see their show that night with my father. They performed at this club in London, and I was so in awe of what I was seeing. Again, I hadn't seen anything like that, because all the artists that we had dealt with were very slick and a different category of music, different genre of music, just totally different. And then when I saw and how electric it was and how different, I was like blown away. I was like, whoa. So that's when I became interested in Black Sabbath.
Well, when did you and Ozzy begin to get serious? You say it definitely was not love at first sight.
In 79, we were working together, and it was in 1980 that we started. We were working together, and it just became something else.
Well, what is it you think first attracted you to him and has kept you attracted to him? Now, we all know nobody gets through marriage unscathed, but let's face it, you've had some really difficult and tumultuous times. But what is it that kept you so attached to him?
He was so funny and quick-witted, and yet very vulnerable. And I just thought he was the funniest, sweetest guy I'd ever met, because he was so vulnerable about everything. And that just attracted me to him.
So you get married.
Mm-hmm.
Things get off to a pretty good start or a pretty rocky start?
It was tough because Ozzy was married and had 2 children. So after the divorce, his wife divorced him. So I would have done the same thing at that time. And so everything he had, he just left with her, which was the right thing to do.
Excuse me, and I don't want to be too intrusive
Go on.
here, but she divorced him because of you?
No, because of the drink. She couldn't take it anymore, and I get it. And then I had detached from my father, business-wise. So I was in a real pickle with my father because he used me as the beard for business. Everything was in my name, everything. Tax returns, companies, management, contracts with record companies. And he had done this so he could be this free guy that went around the world.
He put it all in your name?
All in my name. So when he didn't pay a bill, they would sue me, or when he didn't pay taxes, they would come for me. And when he first did it, I'm like, oh, God, he really trusts me. This is fantastic. But when the tax man's following you around for payment and they come and they take the house from you and they put all the yellow tape around the house, it's like, oh, no, me. So, yeah, my father was free and clear. So when Ozzy and I got together, my father wasn't doing good in business. So the world was after me and Ozzy had nothing. So we both started with nothing.
So that's his wife, or that was, you know what I mean, Sharon Osbourne. He was a wild guy. Like I just say this, I'm not gonna go too much into. Like I said, he was a wild guy. I didn't. Again, he lived the rock star lifestyle, as you know. Had all these kids. I'm sure infidelities, as we just heard. So again, whether you like him or you don't like him, I'm not going to sit back and say I love his music like that. But, I heard some of his music back in the day. But it's all right, I guess. But I just wanted to make a video. But I just say this. I'm surprised he lived to the age that he was, knowing the fact that he did all those drugs and stuff like that. And, so, yeah, rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. So, and his family. So he's always going to be remembered as a rock star legend. So, whatever, but I want everybody to feel free to check out my videos if you feel like it. Type in my name again. It's Russell Mills, RussellMills, May 22nd, 2017. My first video is called Why Black People Settle for Less. Everybody take care. God bless. Have a great day. Bye.